So in rule-based classification, coverage indicates percentage of rules that are percentage of records that are covered by a rule, whereas accuracy indicates percentage of records that are correctly classified by a given rule. So if a rule obeys certain coverage and accuracy, then we can say that that is a qualified rule, that is a quality, having a good quality like that. And next, there are two terms we need to discuss about rule-based classifier: triggering and firing. So what is meant by triggering? Anybody? In rule-based classification, what is meant by triggering? The term triggering, when we can say that a record is triggered.
Is covered by the rule.
So if at all a record is yes, yes. If at all a record is covered by the rule, then we can say that the rule is triggered or the record is triggered. So when we can use the word firing, the rule is fired. When we can use this?
If a record is triggered by the rule and there is only one rule.
Excellent, very good, very good. So if at all a record is triggered, that is the first step. And if it is the only one rule which is triggered, then it can be fired. Otherwise, what? We need to filter the rules based on certain measures. We need to filter out the rule and we need to select one rule which should be fired. Very good. And next, what are the other concepts we have discussed? There are certain properties or characteristics for the rule-based classifier. What are those properties?
Mutually exclusive and exhaustive property.
Mutual exclusive and exhaustive. So every rule from the rule set. So if a rule-based classifier, we should have a rule set. So every rule from the rule set should be mutual exclusive and exhaustive. So mutual exclusive tells that there exists only one rule that covers a particular record. Whereas the mutually exhaustive, that means exhaustive property tells that every record should be covered by at least one rule. So sometimes, most of the cases, these two properties may not be hold good. So in such cases, generally we have certain methods to make the rules to obey to such properties. And usually, rules from the rule-based classifier are extracted in two ways. One is the direct method, that means going directly from the data and extracting the rules, and other is from extracting the rules from already constructed classifiers and decision trees. Usually, generally rules are extracted from the decision tree. So, what is the process of extracting from the decision tree? How to extract rules from the decision tree? Is anybody other than 49 can respond? Is anybody there? Any other good student is there other than 49?
labels use చేసి
చెప్పండి.
labels use చేసి
Your voice is your voice is actually not clear. Repeat once.
అక్కడ డెసిషన్ ట్రీలో ఇచ్చిన లేబుల్స్ ని యూజ్ చేసి ఒకవేళ ఎస్ అంటే కనుక ఒకవైపు అలా ట్రేస్ చేసి ఫైండ్ అవుట్ చేస్తాం మ్యామ్.
సో ఎక్కడి నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది రూల్ ఎక్స్ట్రాక్షన్ డెసిషన్ ట్రీలో? ఏ లెవెల్ నుంచి స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది?
రూట్ నుండి మ్యామ్.
రూట్ నుండి. సో for extracting, very good, number 37. So for extracting the rules from the decision tree, what the basic procedure is, we need to start from the root node and we need to traverse from the root to the leaf based on the path specified. And that means we need to traverse every branch. As said with 37, we need to traverse every branch, every path we need to go. We need to touch. So based on that, we can write the attribute tests on which part? If part. And we need to write the labels at then part. And the if part is referred as the rule antecedent and or precondition, and then part is referred as consequent. So like that, we need to extract many rules from the decision tree. And here we can make sure that the rule which is extracted from the rule set which is extracted from the decision trees can follow these two properties, mutual exclusive and exhaustive. So now we can have a rule set with good quality while going through the decision tree. Then after that, what is the next step we need to take care of? So whenever we are extracting rules from the decision tree, we need to prune the rules. Why? Because there may exist some noise while construction of the tree, or there may exist some irrelevant attributes, some repeated attributes. So in order to enhance the classification performance, just like tree pruning, here also we are having a rule pruning. So there are two procedures for two steps we need to take care of while pruning the rules. The first one is we need to prune the size of the rule by removing the inappropriate test condition. So if at all any test is inappropriate or any test is not good, not enhances the quality of the rule, we can remove that. Pruning is nothing but removing. So we can remove that test condition so that we can reduce the size of the particular rule. So in such way we can prune the rules. And what is the other way? We can, out of all the rules in the rule set, we can remove the rules which does not lead to the does not add any benefit to increase the quality of the overall classification of the rule based class. Such rules can be pruned. Like so, after rule pruning, after simplifying the rule set, the resulting rules may not be that properties of mutual exclusion and mutual exclusive property and exhaustive property may not obey that property. Then what to do? We need to make them. We need to apply some methods to make them to obey such properties. So for that we are having three methods: size-based method. That means size-based ordering is there to obey mutual exclusion property. We are having three methods: size-based ordering, class-based ordering, and rule-based ordering. So till now, till this topic we have covered in the last class. Let me share the white. Other than 49 and 37, the other people also should respond. Then only the concept can be easily understand by you. If at all you respond, it can be helpful for you also. You can those topics can be fixed in your mind for a long time if at all you respond properly. So we are having to obey mutual exclusion property and exhaustive property. So to make rule set to obey this property, we are having three methods. Yes. Size-based ordering and class-based ordering is the second method, and rule-based ordering is the third method. So in size-based ordering, why all these methods? If at all, what is the mutual exclusive property? Having that means to have only one rule for a given record. So if at all there is a case that we are having more than one rule, suppose we are having some rule 1, rule 2, so on, and rule n for a given record. One record is covered by more than one rule. If at all this is the case, this should be avoided. So we need to order the rules and we need to take the highest priority rule. And for this, we are having three methods to make the rules set mutual exclusive. So what is the size-based ordering? So according to the size-based ordering, it selects the rule which is having the toughest nature in the sense having the maximum number of conditions. Suppose if at all the rule, if a particular rule is there and it says that if age is equal to youth and credit rating is equal to yes, then the customer will buy a computer. So how many attribute tests are there for that rule? For that rule, two attribute tests are there. So suppose consider another rule which says that if the attribute, if the customer age is middle age and he's a student, yes, and his credit rating is excellent, what credit rating is fair, for example, then he is not able to buy the computer. So if you consider this rule, how many attribute tests are there in the second example? Respond. Three tests are there. I'm telling that age should be middle age and student is yes and credit rating is excellent. So three tests are there. That means we can say that the second example, the second rule is having the more toughest required than the first rule. So here in the size-based ordering, it selects the rule which is having the toughest requirements, which is having the toughest requirements in the sense which is having the more number of test attribute tests. And coming to the second one, class-based ordering. Coming to the second method, class-based ordering. So out of all rules, it selects the rule which is having the class having the highest prevalence. The class which is having the highest prevalence should be selected. So it selects the rule. It selects the rule which is having the class of highest prevalence. Suppose if here R1 consisting of the class red and R2 consisting of the class green and R3 consisting of the class yellow, for example. So out of these three classes, suppose we are having only three classes. So out of these three classes, this class-based ordering selects the class which is selects the rule which is having the class with the top prevalence. Top prevalence means top important. That means which is having a major class. For example, there are some other methods to know which class is a highly prevalent class, which class is a lower prevalence class, like that. Suppose green is the class which is having the highest prevalence. So this class-based ordering scheme selects R2 because this class is covered by this R2 rule. So for this case, if at all we select class-based ordering method, it selects the rule R2 and the rule R2 is 5. Instead of R1 and R3, the rule R2 is 5. So it selects the rule with the consisting of the class having the highest prevalence. Don't get confused. Which is having the highest prevalence. So if at all there are more than, suppose I'm having some other rules also, R4, R5, which are all belongs to the green class only. Which all belongs to the green class. Again, what happens? Here in the class-based ordering, it selects R2, R4 and R5 also. Along with not only R2, along with that, it selects R4 and R5 also. Why? Because all are belonging to the green class. So out of this, which one to select? Again, here up to this, we have made some filtering process. And after that, again, further we need to make some filtering. So how to select the one rule out of three? So again, it has a filtering process, that is, it selects the rule which leads to the less cost of misclassification. So here is a measure, here is a quality measure it considers, that is cost of misclassification. Cost of misclassification. So it considers the rule out of these three, R2, R4, R5, it considers the rule which results in the less cost of misclassification. Cost of misclassification in the sense, just observe the term cost of misclassification. Misclassification in the sense what? What is meant by misclassification? Anybody? General guess I want. What is meant by misclassification?
Wrong classification.
That means how many number of tuples are wrongly classified by the particular classifier. So here, by using if at all the classifier uses the rule R2, What is the cost of misclassification for that rule? If at all it uses R4, what is the class of misclassification for that rule? If at all it uses R5, what is the class of misclassification? So the one which results in less cost of misclassification can be selected further. If at all this is the case, if at all we are having more than one rule with the selected class. So this is the case. Like this here, the class-based ordering scheme selects the particular rule. And coming to the rule-based. So here it orders the rule. It sorts the rule according to some quality measures. So we already know about some quality measures, that is coverage and accuracy. So it sorts all the rules according to the quality measure, and the top rule is automatically selected in this way, in this method. So like this, to achieve the first characteristic, we are having three methods: size-based ordering, class-based ordering, and rule-based ordering. And coming to the second one, coming to the second property, exhaustive property. What is meant by exhaustive property? What is meant by exhaustive property? Each record should be covered by at least one rule. If at all the rule set is not obeying the exhaustive property, means what? That particular record is not covered by any of the given rules. Just opposite case we need to take. What is the exhaustive property? Each record should be covered. That means if consider this is a record, each record should be covered by at least one rule. This is exhaustive property. If this is not, we can say that the rule set is not obeying exhaustive property. So here what is the case? So I am having certain rules R12. I am having certain rules R1, for example, R12, R4 I am having. But my record, this record is not covered by any of the rules. So then how to classify the record? How I can classify the record? So here it follows the method of default class, method of selecting default class. So here we are going to use the method of selecting default class. So under this method, what we are doing is all the records which are not covered by any of the rules are gathered. Suppose I am having some set of records. Some record 1 is there, some RE1, RE5 is also there, and RE10 is there. Suppose these three are the records which are covered by all the rules. That means which are not covered by any of the rules. Then we need to first collect all the records which are all such kind of records, and we need to observe the class label of that record, each and every record, and majority class we need to take out. Majority class we need to take, and we need to assign the class to all the records. We need to assign the class to all the records. So our ultimate aim is to make the classification. Ultimate aim is to make the classification. So how to do that? In the sense, all the records which are not covered by any of the rules are collected, and out of all the records, we need to identify the majority class. That means the default class. That is also called as the default class. That's why here we are calling it as a default class method. So that is also called as a default class. So that class should be assigned to all such records. That is the default class method. So this is all about rule-based classification, and now I'm going back to the PPT and I'm going to explain all those things, since because in the last class we are completely on the whiteboard. So it can be better by going through the PPT because it's a kind of material for you. So here is the rule-based classification. So this uses the if-then rules for classification, right? We already know that. So a rule-based classifier uses a set of if-then rules for classification. An if-then rule is an expression of this form. This is the rule structure. If, condition, and then here is a conclusion. Conclusion in the sense it indicates a label. And here is an example. If age is equal to youth and student is equal to S, and then by say computer is equal to S, and this can also be written in this form, and all the attribute tests are here joined with a conjunction and symbol, we are going to join the different attribute tests. And the if part of a rule is known as antecedent or precondition, and then part is known as rule consequent. And in the rule antecedent condition consisting of one or more attribute tests that are logically ended, the rule consequent consisting of a class prediction. So actual prediction is there on the rule antecedent part. So this is all we already discussed. So if the condition in a rule antecedent holds true for a given tuple, we say that the rule is satisfied or covered like that. So coming to the quality of the rule, a rule can be assessed by its coverage and accuracy and is given by this given a tuple X from a class label data set D, and here is the formula for the coverage and accuracy. So what is the coverage? Coverage is the percentage of the here. Coverage is the percentage of the tuples that are covered by the rule. So out of all the tuples in the data set, the number of tuples that are covered by the rule. So this gives the coverage. Here n-cover, n-correct. What is meant by n-cover and n-correct? N-cover indicates the number of tuples that are covered, whereas n-correct indicates the number of tuples which are correctly classified. So accuracy is the percentage of tuples which are correctly classified by the rule. So here, out of all the tuples covered by the rule, how many are correctly classified? So this gives the accuracy of a rule. So these two are the quality measures of a rule. And here is an example how to calculate that. Consider the rule, and here we are having some formulas, and here is a data set, and we find out the quality of this rule. What is the value of n cover? Let's first calculate the coverage. Coverage is equal to n covered by D. So how many are there? How many records are covered by the rule? Let's go through the data set. How many records are covered by the rule?
14, ma'am.
14. There are a total of 14 records are there. Out of 14, how many are covered by the rule?
2, ma'am.
Only 2. Shall I proceed with that number?
5, ma'am.
5. 2 or 5?
No, ma'am.
Any other number? How many are covered by? Just go through the data set and tell me how many records are there which are covered by the rule. That means A should be youth and student should be S, and vice computer is equal to S. How many? 2 or 5? Chapali. What?
2, ma'am.
2,
data
madam.
enter 28. How many?
2, madam.
2, okay, 2 final. Okay. Out of 2, okay, 2 by this, here we are having mod D. Mod D indicates the total number of tuples in the data set. How many tuples are there?
14, ma'am.
14. So this gives us the coverage. And coming to the accuracy, what is the formula for the accuracy? N correct by N cover. N correct by N cover. So how many are covered by the rule? 2 are covered by the rule. Out of 2, how many are correct? Correct in the sense, those 2 tuples should be classified to S only here in this data set. If at all there are 2 classified by S, they are correct. Otherwise, we need to count how many are correct out of 2. So, 2 enti. What is the RIDs of those 2?
9 and 11, ma'am.
9 and 11. So what is the class label? Here is S and here also S. So out of 2, both 2 are correct, right? So this is 2 by 2 and this is, so this rule is perfectly, this rule is perfectly fit to classify this those two records, right? Because it classifies correctly. But it does not cover many of the records. So its coverage is little less, but its accuracy is more. So like that, we can assess the quality of a rule. Like this, here we are having 14.28% coverage and 100% accuracy. And here is another example. Here we are having a data set, and here we are having different rules we are having from the data set, right? So let's take rule R3. R3, how many records are covered by R3? Anybody? How many records are covered by R3? How many records are covered by R3? What is R3? Gives birth is equal to S and type is equal to 1. How many, ma?
3, madam.
3. What are those 3? ఎక్కడున్నాయి ఆ మూడు? Just tell me. First one, right? Gives birth is, I'm telling about R. Gives birth is equal to S and blood type is equal to warm. Okay, first one.
Fourth, ma'am.
Fourth one. Yes. Next. This one, right? Here is another. Any other is there?
Madam, last నుంచి second.
Yes, last and second. So total how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this rule covers total of 6 records. Out of 6, how many are correct actually? Correct in the sense, the class of the record should be mammals. So this is correct, and this is also correct, and this is also correct, and this is also correct. I think it got all correct. But this is not actually, this is not the case in all the time. Fortunately, for the previous example and this example also, we are having good accuracy and good coverage also for this example. So like this, we can have a number of rules for a given data set, and we can similarly, if you observe one thing, here how many test conditions are there? 2 test conditions are there. Here also 2 test conditions are there. Here also 2, here also 2, but here there is only 1 test condition. So which rule is less toughest? Which rule is having less toughest? Having less toughness. Obviously, rule 5. So the rule which is having the number of more number of attribute tests can be considered as a toughest rule. So compared to this, all the other rules are having the 2 attribute test. That means 2 test conditions. But whereas R5 consisting of only 1 test condition, so we can say that R5 is the toughest rule like that. And here is the triggering and firing. So if you consider triggering, if a rule is satisfied by it, the rule is said to be triggered. We already know that, right? So here, if you consider this record and the rule we are already taken in the previous example, here X satisfies R1, which triggers the rule like that. Similarly, firing. So if R1 is the only rule that satisfies, then the rule fires by returning the class prediction for X. So here, what is the note? Triggering does not always means firing, because there may be more than one rule that is satisfied. So triggering does not always lead to firing a rule. So consider example. So here we are having some set of rules and some 2 records we are having. Here here they said that rule R1 covers this particular record. So this record is covered by R1, and next this particular record is covered by R3. This is the example of the triggering only. This is the example of the triggering. Then we can say that the R1 is triggered for the first record, R3 is triggered for the second record like that. but we can't say that the rules are always fired. But in this example, we can say that the rule R1 is fired and rule R3 is fired. Why? Because there is only one rule for the first record, and similarly there is only one rule for the second record also. There are not having more than one rule for a particular record. So in this particular example, we can say that rule R1 is triggered for first record, and rule R1 is fired for the first record also. Similarly, rule R2 is triggered for the second record, and R3 is fired for the second record. So here there is no ambiguity, and there is no that means all the rules obey the mutual exclusive and exhaustive property. So there is no problem with this. Sometimes it may not be happens actually. So here are the characteristics of the rules: mutual exclusive and exhaustive. So what is mutual exclusive? So the classifier contains mutual exclusive rules if no two rules are triggered by the same record. No two rules are triggered by the same record, and every record is covered by at most one rule. And coming to the exhaustive rule, if it accounts for every possible combination of the attribute value, that means all the rule set consisting of all possible combination of the attribute test. So on each record is covered by at least one rule. This is the characteristics of the rule. So if you consider an example, here again we are having some records and rules. So here it says that this particular first record is covered by R3. This record is, sorry. This particular record is covered by, here I can write. Record is covered by rule R3. And if you consider this record is covered by rule R4 and also R5. And here, this is not covered by any of the rules. So actually, is this rule set follows the properties of the rule-based classification? This rule set follows the properties of, no, obviously no. Why? Because here if you observe the second record, it is covered by more than one rule. If you observe the third record, it is not covered by any of the rules. So here what to do? To select one out of two. Here there is no doubt, in this case it can be classified as mumble. There is no doubt. Why? Because there is only one rule for the one record. So hence here the rule is fired also. Here the rule is fired also. Whereas in this case there is some problem we need to solve. So which rule we need to select out of R4 and R5? For that we are having methods, right? So we can use either size-based ordering or class-based ordering or rule-based ordering. So out of these three, we can select any. That means we can select any of the methods, and based on the method, what is the size-based ordering? It sorts out the. That means it prioritizes the rule based on the toughness of the rule, and it obviously selects the rule with the highest toughness. So it selects the rule with the highest toughness. For example, if you consider out of R4 and R5, if you go for size-based ordering, which rule is selected? If you go for size-based ordering method, which rule is selected out of R4 and R5? I already told you what is meant by rule toughness at all. And all I already told you. Shapali.
R5, ma'am.
The rule with the highest toughness should be selected. Think once. Toughness. Yes,
R4, ma'am.
R4. Why? Because toughness is indicated with the number of attribute tests. Toughness is indicated with the number of tests. Since R4 is consisting of two tests, here is one test and here is one test. But R5 consisting of only one test. So compared to R5, R4 is more tough. So if you go for size-based ordering, it selects rule 4. So what the case if you go for class-based ordering? So it selects the rule based on the prevalence of the classes. So class of the R4 is this reptiles, and the class of the R5 is something like this. So out of these two classes, suppose this is one, this is two. Out of these two classes, which class is more prevalent? That class That means that rule associated with that class should be selected. So for this again we need to go some other methods which are not relevant for our topic, which are no need to go for all those. So some process is there to select the class which is having the highest prevalence. So that rule associated with that class can be selected if you go for class based ordering. And what is the other method? Rule based ordering. So if you go for rule based ordering, again here we need to calculate coverage and accuracy for this rule. So here we need to calculate coverage and accuracy for R4 and coverage and accuracy for R5. And based on the result, the one which is having the highest quality based on the results of coverage and accuracy, that one is selected if you go for rule based ordering. So that is the case. So here, so this is resolved with that. This second I have some problem with my I have some problem with my screen. I think. So here, this is resolved, right? This is resolved. So if you go for this, how to resolve this problem? What is the problem here? It is not covered by any of the rules. So if at all this is the case, if a record is not covered by any of the rules, what to do? All such records should be gathered and the majority default class should be assigned. How to assign the default class? A little actually a little wrongly I said previously. How to assign the default class to the record means we need to collect the class default class which is not shown by any of the rules, which is not present at any of the rules. We need to collect all the classes. So that from all the classes, majority of the class we can assign to this particular record. Default class in the sense, the class which is not covered by any of the rule we need to select. So if at all there are more than one such classes are there, we need to pick up the majority class and we need to assign that class to the particular record. Previously, I have said little wrong, which we have discussed previously. Is we need to collect all the records which are not not covered by any rule, and we need to observe the class label because all those records are not having any class label. We need to classify that, so we can't get the class label from that. This is not the right way. Actually, the right way is we need to collect the classes which are not assigned, which are not covered by any of the rules. So if such classes are there, we need to collect all the classes and we need to pick the majority class and assign to this kind of records. Just wait, my screen is stuck somewhere. So here, building classification rules, we are having direct method and indirect method is there. And indirect method, we are generally, we prefer to use generally we use decision trees, that is from C4.5 rules. And here from decision trees to rules. So to extract rules from a decision tree, one rule is created for each path from the root to the leaf node, and each splitting criteria along with a given path is originally undid. Splitting criteria is nothing but the attribute test to form the rule antecedent, that means the if path. So the leaf node holds the class prediction forming the rule consequent. This is all, we already know that, right? And here is the decision tree, and here is these are the set of rules formed from the decision tree. And a disjunction, that means the OR is implied between each of the extracted rules. As the rules are extracted directly from the tree, there are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. So why we need to go for rule pruning? The extracted rules may be even more difficult to interpret than the original trees in some cases. The resulting set of rules extracted can be large and difficult to follow because some of the attribute tests may be irrelevant or redundant. So it can be done by pruning the resulting rule set. So for a given rule antecedent, any condition that does not improve the estimated accuracy of a rule can be pruned. So in addition, any rule that does not contribute to the overall accuracy of the entire rule set can also be pruned. This is all we have discussed already, right? So if you consider an example, so after that, what happened? Rules can be simplified further. So here is an example of rule pruning. If you consider this, if suppose this is the initial rule, this is pruned. This is a pruned rule. So here, irrespective of the refund value, if at all the status is equal to married, the obvious class is no. Why? Because if you go through the data, let me clear this. So if you observe from the table, if status is equal to married, what is the class? Here is no, here is no, here is also no, here is also no. So if status is equal to married, the class is no. Irrespective of the, we need not to go for the value of the refund. Actually, this given role, of course, but the truth is we no need to go for the refund value. That is unnecessary computation. So directly we can consider the status value, because if at all the status is married, the resulted class is no only. So it can be simplified in this way. So this is the simplified form of the example of the simplified form of the rule. So what is the effect of rule simplification or rule pruning? The rules are no longer mutually exclusive and exhaustive. So a record may trigger more than one rule. So what is the solution for that? We are having a size ordering method and class-based ordering and rule-based ordering. Similarly, records are no longer mutually exhaustive, no longer exhaustive. That means a record may not triggered by any of the rules. So what is the solution for using a default class? So here are the procedures for to follow the size-based ordering, class-based ordering, and rule-based ordering. And here is the procedure for default class. So a default rule can be set up to specify a default class based on the training set. So this may be the class in majority or the majority class of the tuples that were not covered by any of the rule. So the default rule is evaluated at the end if and only if no other rule covers it. So read the second point again. This may be the class in majority of the tuples that were not covered by any of the rules. So we need to. So this point I will discuss again in the next class. Let me take a deep view into this point again, and I will again discuss about this point in the next class. So in this way, the rule fights when no other rule is satisfied. So this is all about rule-based classifier. And next one, so here up to this point, we have covered some different classification methods. Decision trees we have covered, and Bayesian classifiers we have covered, and now we have covered rule-based classifiers. And next we need to go for the prediction. So I will cover the prediction in the next class, and within prediction we are having a linear regression method that will be explained in the next class. Now group 3. Anyone from group 3 should share their screen regarding the Gini index calculation.